Hi class, in this video we are going to do the examples titled Runners. In this example we are going to use a 5-number summary to label some box plots. So first of all we have 2 sets of data. You can find that data in the top right of your slide. You can pause here if you need to take a minute to review your table. On the leftmost column of your table we have runners, and there are 15 sets of data for runners. On the leftmost column, we have a set of data titled Others, and that the Others column has 20 sets of data. I imagine someone timed people who were running. Maybe some of them were on the track team. Those would be the runners, and the others were just random people they pulled into their experiment here. So the first step is to load our data into our list on the calculator. So since we have 2 sets of data, the runners I'm going to plug into L1, and the others I'm going to plug into L2. Okay? So now let's go to the calculator. So if you'll remember, to get to your lists, I'm going to hit Stat, and then Edit, which is the first item on that menu. So you can either hit Enter or the 1 key to get to your lists. You'll see here that I do already have both L1 and L2 filled in for us. Please take a minute to pause to go ahead and fill in your data on your calculator. Now that you have your L1 and L2 list ready to go, let's go ahead and run our 1 variable stats. So to get our 5-number summary, I'm going to go to Stat, and I'm going to use again the 1 variable stats function. So to get to there, I'm going to tab to the right to get to calculate, and then 1 variable stats is the first option. So again, I'm just going to either hit Enter or the number 1 key. Okay, so here you'll see I have, with the 1 variable stats, I have a list, a frequency list, and calculate. For the list, that's where I'm going to load either L1 or L2. Let's go ahead and do the runners first. So I need to plug in L1. So I need to make sure I'm going to hit second, number 1, and that will change my list to L1. Now, if anything is in your frequency list, you can hit the clear or the delete key to get rid of that, because your frequency list should be blank, because this is not a frequency distribution. All right, so once I have L1 and I have cleared my frequency list, if there's anything there, I hit calculate to run 1 variable stats. So to get my 5-number summary, I'm going to tab all the way down, and the 5-number summary is going to start with min x, which represents the minimum. And then I'm going to go down to Q1, the median, Q3, and max x, which represents the maximum. These 5 numbers are going to represent my 5-number summary. In our case, my minimum is 3, Q1 is 4.6, the median is 6.3, Q3 is 7.5, and my max is 8.8. So take a minute to write those numbers down on your notes so that we can later use that to label our box plot. Once you have that, let's go ahead and get the data and my 5-number summary for the others list. So to go back, I'm going to hit Stat again, tab to the right once to get to calculate, hit Enter to get to 1 variable stats. Well, now I want the others list, which we said was L2. So I'm going to hit second and the 2 key to change my list from L1 to L2. Again, make sure your frequency list is cleared. If you're doing this back to back, your frequency list should be cleared from the last time you ran the runners list. Okay, and then I hit calculate. Once again, now that 1 variable stats has ran its program here, we're going to tab all the way down, and I'm going to record the 5 numbers that my calculator gives me, starting with min x, and then all the way down to max x. So again, that means my minimum here is 5.2, my Q1 is 12.3, the median is 18.25, and Q3 is 21.55, and my maximum is 29.4. Once more, take a minute to label those on, or to write those down on your paper so that we can then go label our box plots. So notice that your box plots are just under your data for your runners and your others, kind of on the middle lower right of your screen or your slide. And there's two box plots. The smaller one on the top is runners, and the bigger one on the bottom is the others box plot. So notice these are also called box and whisker plots, and that's because of the way they look. They look like a box with two little whiskers coming out, one from the left and one from the right. So I'm going to take a minute and talk about where your 5-number summary is going to go on your box and whisker plot. I'm going to label these things on the others box plot because it's bigger. I'm not going to have much room on the runners box plot to do this. So the very tip of the leftmost whisker, that's going to be my Q1, or my minimum rather. Alright, so I'm going to label that min, M-I-N. The leftmost corner of my box is going to be Q1. Now there is a vertical line somewhere in my box, okay? It may not always be in the middle, but sometimes it could be in the middle, sometimes it's off center. But that little vertical line that's inside the box is going to be my median, or Q2. But we're going to call it median, so I'm going to label it MED for median. The rightmost corner of my box is going to be Q3. So I'm going to label that with Q3. And then the very tip of my rightmost whisker is going to be my maximum. So I'm going to label that max. Okay? So now that we know where all of these things go, let's go ahead and label the box plot for runners with our actual 5-number summary. All right, so for runners, my minimum was 3, so I'm going to put that with the tip of my leftmost whisker. The Q1 was 4.6, and so I'm going to put that on the leftmost corner of my box. All right, and then my medium was 6.3, so I'm going to put 6.3 where that inside the box where that vertical line is. All right, the rightmost corner of that box is going to be Q3, so I'm going to label that with the 7.5. And then the rightmost whisker is my maximum, which was 8.8. Okay, so now we're going to label the numbers for my 5-number summary for the others column. And so that is going to be my minimum of 5.2, my Q1 of 12.3, my median of 18.25, my Q3 of 21.55, and my maximum of 29.4. And then you should be done.